Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So as you've probably seen from the title, I'm going to share my 6 top tips on how to reduce and beat the bloat. Bloating is something that I've always really struggled with. And I know that a lot of people, females in particular, really do. And obviously certain times of your cycle will, you'll hold on to more water retention and you will bloat, but it's just so important to remember that it's not fat gain, and it is normally temporary, but can't put my teeth back in, temporary. Just really reiterate that it's only temporary, because it can be really, sort of upsetting, maybe is not the right word, but it can feel really like demotivating, especially when you're working hard towards your goals, particularly if that goal is fat loss, and then you feel really bloated and think, oh, I haven't lost anything, when it's not the case. It's just most likely water retention. So as I say, you get at certain times of your cycle, especially sort of like just before your period, and then lots of different things can affect water retention. But hopefully these tips will help if you implement them in your day-to-day life. Again, give it time. It's not just a quick fix, but over time this should really help, and it's something that I've really noticed has made a huge difference to my bloating. I know, again, for me in particular, when I get bloated, I really feel it in my lower stomach. So particularly as females, we hold more lower belly fat, and that's to protect our reproductive organs. And I know myself in the past, when I've tried to get rid of that when I've been a lot younger, like slashed my calories to a dangerously low amount, I still always had that. Even when I was at my very smallest, I was really dangerously underweight, and I still had like the lower part of my stomach slightly protruding, and whilst it wasn't as much as what is maybe as noticeable now, I should say, it still was always there, and it won't ever go away. So just another little reminder that is normal, but that is normally when I'm bloated. It is more so down in the lower area of my stomach. So tip number 1 is to include lots of fibre and fermented foods in your diet. If you don't have a fibre goal, I'd really recommend that you have that. I normally say around 30 grams a day, and whilst this may be difficult to begin with, I would just slowly build it up as your body can build up a bit of a tolerance to it, because you might find some high fibre foods will like naturally bloat you. So things like beans and pulses, like lentils, they can initially make you feel bloated. However, because they're really high in fibre, they will help with bloating in the long term. So they keep your gut nice and healthy. Things like miso, kefir, if that's how you pronounce that, yogurt, all really good foods that are fermented. Even like apple cider vinegar, that is really good. As long as it's with the mother, that's really good for your gut health. So all of these high fibre foods will keep that gut nice and healthy and keep everything nice and balanced, which will help with bloating. And fibre foods, again, they're all pretty high in fibre too, but fruit and veggies, you can't go wrong, and making sure you get minimum of 5 a day, and they will help in the long run to help reduce that bloating. This one's pretty simple, but just drinking lots of water. When you've got water retention, your body needs more water, and often water retention is caused from too much salt and sodium in the body. So drinking lots of water will help to flush that out. I always say aim for 2 to 3 litres a day, and some tips to getting more water is to always just carry a water bottle with you, taking regular sips. Will help as well. If you have a desk job, keep your water bottle by your side. If you're out and about, keep a water bottle in your bag. That small tip I know really helped me, and it helps a lot of my clients, just so you've always got water with you on the go. And if you're ever out eating anywhere or anything like that, I always, if I do get like any kind of drink, if I get a coffee or whatever, I'll always just get water for the table, just to get that liquid intake in. Again, like your teas and your coffees and stuff do count towards that. And same if you wanted to add some cordial into your water. If you find that you struggle to just drink water on its own, just some sugar-free cordial will make all the difference, just to give you that bit of flavour and can help you drink a bit more throughout the day. Foods that are also high in potassium are like highly recommended. They help to pull the sodium out of the body, as I mentioned there before, which is what can cause water retention. So lots of foods like bananas, oranges, apricots, leafy greens, cucumber, peas, mushrooms, basically fruit and veg. Foods high in potassium really will help to pull the sodium out of the cells into your body, which will help with that water retention, as I say, which causes the bloat. Tip 4 is to include lots of vitamin C in your diet. Again, similar to the potassium, helps to pull the sodium out of your body. It acts as a natural diuretic. So whether you have that in, you know, the Everest, I don't know how to say it, I can never pronounce words. You know, like the tablets that you pop in the water and they dissolve. So a bit like Barocca. So whether you have them like that, you're getting it from your diet, again, from fruit, veggies, strawberries, spinach, oranges, they're all really high in vitamin C as well. But you can have a supplement, whether it's the dissolvable tablets or like just a little capsule, and you can have that as an added extra, but if you're getting enough from your diet, then you definitely don't need those. Tip number 5, and something that is overlooked, I preach this anyway, a varied diet with no restrictions. Restricting food and not having it for a long time and then eating it can cause a lot of digestive issues. It is important to eat everything in moderation. Obviously having more whole foods, focusing on that 80-20 balance, so that 80% of your food is, as I say, whole foods, nutritionally dense foods, your fruit, your veggies, whole grain, carbohydrates, stuff like that, and then the 20% is still foods that you love, that you crave, probably more processed foods like your chocolate, your crisps, your sweets. It is still important to include them in your diet, just in general, for enjoyment, you know, longevity towards your goals, your mental well-being, so you're not cutting anything out and, you know, causing stress, thinking about things you can't have. But also, again, as I say, just so your body knows how to digest them. Like if you cut them out completely and reintroduce them back in, it can cause a lot of issues, and then when you get those digestive issues, that can cause bloating. So again, similarly, if you have too many processed foods, that can cause digestive issues because your body's not getting the nutrients and the goodness that it needs. So that's why I always say focus on an 80-20 balance. But I say that for lots of reasons, but this reason in particular, it's so important. I know in the past that I've done things where I went and ate really clean, you know, cut out you know, more processed foods, as I say, like not had any chocolate. And you know what, I mean, chocolate's only been a big thing for me since I came off the contraceptive pill. Like my hormones have obviously changed as well as I've got older. I've never really been a big one for sweet stuff. I was always like a more savoury person, but back in the day when I was that more savoury person, if I told myself I couldn't have chocolate, I just automatically wanted it. But anyway, I used to really cut out stuff like that. Went off on a bit of a tangent there, I digress. Whenever I cut out stuff like that, and then obviously naturally I would want it again and reintroduce it back into my diet, I would find that I was way more bloated and I had a lot more digestive issues. So like I say, it's good to keep that variety. Too much of anything isn't good for you, and that's why I say focus on that 80-20 balance. So aim for at least 5 portions of fruit and veg a day, so you're getting lots of whole foods, but make sure that you're including all those things that your body loves and craves. And my final tip would be to eat without distractions. This is a game changer, something that I've just quite recently introduced, and honestly, it's actually crazy how much it makes a difference. So I don't know if you actually do just sit and eat and think about like what you're eating, but I'm normally watching the telly, sitting on my phone, you know, doing something other than just sitting and eating. So eating without distractions is just sitting down, eating your food, thinking about the taste, like actually really thinking about chewing your food properly so your body can digest it easier. Something so simple has made a huge difference to my bloating, and it's something that I'm definitely continuing to do. Obviously there's been times, like particularly just recently I was away for the weekend with my friends, so we were eating out and chatting and stuff, and that is fine. And it is okay every now and again, but for the most part, again, going for that 80-20 balance with it, not striving for perfection, just most of the time I sit down and I eat my meals, like, because I'd be like eating and working, and as I say, eating watching the telly, you're not actually thinking about your food, you're not like probably maybe not chewing it properly, just little things like that. And I do a lot of meditation, and currently I've done this one before actually, it's just talking about mindful eating, and that's not to sort of change, like, you know, to stop myself from having certain foods or whatever like that, because I think a lot of people do think like you're meditating to, you know, stop eating certain foods or whatever. It's just basically about being more mindful when you eat, and one thing that it's said to do is to eat without distractions. Now I said I did this, it's like a little course on the Headspace app that I use, and I did it well over a year ago, and I just sort of like, it went over my head. But then as I've been trying to improve my bloating lately, this was something that came up again, and I was like, I'm going to redo this course. And again, so it came up, and I was like, okay, I need to actually try this now, because I'm always on the go doing lots of stuff, and again that puts like a bit of a stress on your body because you're doing too many things at once, and stress again is not good for bloating. So it's about trying to just sit and eat and enjoy that moment. And similarly with everything that you do, just trying to do one thing at a time, because I'm such a multitasker trying to fit everything into one day, and again that makes your stress levels rise a little bit, and you want to keep those down because that can send your hormones out of balance, and again can cause a bit of water retention. So there's a actually sneaky little 7th tip is to reduce stress and trying to do things in your day that are going to minimize that as much as possible. And again, that's something that I've done lately, just to have a bit more time in my day, so I can't just sit and eat and not be thinking, I need to do this, I need to do this. And it is hard. I've literally went to go and pick up my phone, but I put it right out of the way, and I just sit and enjoy my meal and sort of think about just like enjoying every mouthful. And honestly, it's made such a difference, even just with like cravings. I've been feeling a lot more full, a lot more satisfied, and that's not me trying to eat less or anything at all. It's just about trying to work on my digestive health and just feel better. So yeah, that is a sort of a final tip, but also a little sneaky one in there about stress. So hopefully these tips have helped. These are things that have massively helped me. As I say, I've, you know, really been affected by bloating over the years, and it is normal. It's so important to note that bloating is normal, it is a natural thing, but when it becomes uncomfortable and you have really severe bloating, obviously if you really are concerned about your bloating, it could be a deeper issue, and if you want a bit of peace of mind, I would recommend to go and see your GP. But as I say, for the most part, it is normal, especially after a meal, especially at the end of the day when you've had lots of food and drink, like liquid intake and stuff like that. It will naturally happen, but trying to reduce it down as much as possible is important. But if you potentially try all these things and you still find that you're getting really you know, bad bloating and it's painful and stuff like that, I would, like I say, recommend looking into it further. But do know that bloating, as I've said, is not fat gain. Like, you might find that after a weekend where you've potentially ate a bit more processed food, that on a Monday you feel a bit more bloated and groggy, and that is most likely just water retention from, as I say, more salt, sodium, from said processed foods. So you don't need to over restrict or anything like that. Just try and get a better balance of those nutrient dense whole foods in, and that should definitely help. But let me know if this has been helpful. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one.